Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the 12th Annual Garden of 1,000 Buddhas Festival of Peace. This is our 12th year, and I've been here for 10 and was thinking about it this morning, how far things have changed the garden itself. And how many of you have been with us many years? How many of you have been coming many years? Yeah? Many of you have, I know. I remember the first festival that I was involved in, Yum Chenmo was not yet painted by the wonderful Lama Sonam Sering, who is joining us today. And maybe things have really changed from your perspective as well over the years. It must be amazing. My name is Deborah Hicks, and also known as Joan Zen, and I will be your MC for today and also playing a little music. We have a full program. We have some wonderful families from, actually Tibetan families from Calgary who have come to visit and be with the festival. So we're looking forward to them performing today. And though we're starting a few minutes late, we should be able to stay on time. We have a lot of different things going on today in the festival, different interfaith, intercultural speakers, and intercultural music and festivities. So let's pray that the rain and the wind can stay away for a while, and so we can enjoy today's festival. The first act today is going to be the Center for Spiritual Living, and it's the Bitterroot Valley Choir. And I've known a lot of the people in this choir for many, many years, going back to small gatherings that we would have at some of the local places where we would come together, interfaith, and pray and sing and light candles for peace. And they've been pretty active with the Peace Festival for several years, and we're really grateful to have them. We've never had them come and sing, but we do love to have choirs come and start off the festival. It always brings people together in harmony, so to speak. So without further ado, please welcome the Bitterroot Valley Center for Spiritual Living Choir.
Come Good morning and welcome. Isn't it a beautiful day? Well, we from the Center for Spiritual Living have the blessing of a wonderful musician as a part of our group that sings and writes beautiful music, and we're doing one of his numbers, and it's called Open Your Heart. Is that it? Yep. And this is that. Okay, we're ready.
I open my mind, I open my heart to love. I open my mind, I open my heart to love. I say love, love, come on in.
Love, come on in.
I open my mind, I open my heart to joy. I open my mind, I open my heart to joy. I say to joy, joy, come on in. Joy, come on in. Be the spirit, joy, gifts that are given. They're given to you and to me. All you gotta do is welcome them. Know what it means to be free, free, free. I open my mind, I open my heart to peace. I open my mind, I open my heart to peace. I say to peace, peace, come on in. Peace, come on in. I open my mind, I open my heart to light. I open my mind, I open my heart to light. I say light, light, come on in. Light, come on in. Be the spiritual gifts that are given. They're given to you and to me. Now all you gotta do is welcome them. Know what it means to be free, free, free. I open my mind, I open my heart to beauty. I open my mind, I open my heart to beauty. I say to beauty, now beauty, come on in. Beauty, come on in. Light, come on in. Love, come on in.
I love that song, being that we are the breath of our ancestors. We're our grandfather's prayers and our grandmother's dreaming. And that we're here for a reason and how we are one. And with all of our differences and all the beauty and diversity, we are one. And our last song for this afternoon is Let There Be Peace.
Peace on earth.
Thank you so much, Bitterroot Valley Choir, the Center for Spiritual Living. Beautiful music. Thank you for coming all the way from Hamilton. And thank you so much for holding a place for peace in the Bitterroot Valley, together with the first annual Peace Festival that you organized this year. And we hope that it grows and grows in the Bitterroot Valley as our sister community with the garden. So thank you so much. Well, before I introduce our next speaker, I do want to let you know that today we do have our AWAM store set up inside. And the store is one of the ways that we support the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. So every purchase that you make really makes a difference for us to just keep the lights on and keep the programs running. So today from 12 until 1, all the cards in the bookstore will be 10% off. Cards and books in the store will be 10% off. And throughout the day, we will be offering a little bit of sales on different items so that you can take advantage of lower prices. We're also selling prayer flags today, and during the afternoon, we will be able to go up to the top of the hill together and offer prayer flags there with our teachers and Stephen Small Salmon, who will come and bless the area that we erected in June. So we look forward to doing that, and you can also purchase the prayer flags here. Today we have asked Linda from she's a licensed Unity for a spiritual teacher in Missoula at the Unity Church there. And we reached out and asked her if she would be willing to come and speak to you, because this year's theme is on creating a compassionate community. And certainly part of creating a compassionate community is having peaceful dialogues between different faiths and religions and different cultures and communities that we bring together. So please welcome her and listen to some wonderful wisdom that I hope she can impart to us, and how we kind of grow our community together. Arlie, Missoula, and we're all connected. So please welcome her.
Thank you. I am so tickled to be able to have heard the Unity Anthem, Let There Be Peace on Earth, just before I speak. I was actually thinking about trying to finish that with that, but since I'm not a singer or a musician, it would have sounded pretty lame, I'm afraid. So anyway, I'm not used to speaking where the audience is this far away from me. So, hey, are you there? How many people know anything at all about Unity? There's a few of us, great. Well, Unity was founded over 100 years ago in the late 1880s, 1890s, not as a religion, but as a spiritual practice. And it was meant to augment, supplement people's regular religious experiences in churches. The founders of Unity did not think that they were going to be founding a church. They thought they were teaching people how to go within themselves and learn that the presence and the peace of God was always with them, no matter where they were, or what they were doing, or how they were worshiping. Now, this really appealed to me when I first came to Unity, because I came from a very unreligious background. My father was an atheist, he said. My mother just went around to different churches and took us wherever she thought we might find like-minded people. She usually would only stay until she found out that they didn't like people who smoked, and then we'd move on. So I was not brought up to be particularly religious, or even to acknowledge that I did indeed have a spiritual light within me. It wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I actually got an understanding of what God meant. And I had a boyfriend at the time who explained to me that he felt God was like electricity, that God was not some old man in the sky that looked down on you and decided whether you were good or bad and whether or not you should be punished, but God was like the current, the life force that is within each one of us. And so at that point in my life, I decided that was that it spoke to me. That did not mean that I really could identify with any religious practice in my understanding at that time. So I just kind of stumbled accidentally into unity. I dabbled with it for a few years, not really knowing if it was for me or not. And it wasn't until I realized that indeed I needed a spiritual community. A friend of mine said to me, you know, it really helps when you're raising a family to have a place where you can go and you can pray together and talk together and celebrate life together, whether it's births or deaths or weddings, but just those rituals that it's so helpful to have family that share with you and grow with you. And so little by little, I started to really appreciate having a place that was a home where I could actually tell people that I did indeed feel the presence of a spirit within me. And that was important to me. But not only that, but I could recognize there was a spirit within them as well. I could see that there was light coming from the eyes of every single person that I met, whether it was at church or whether it was the clerk in the grocery store, the greeter at Walmart, whoever, anywhere. Just a smile and a light in the eyes is exactly what calls to us so that we know indeed we are home. We are with another person, and the love we share is exactly what we need at the moment. The founders of Unity practiced prayer and meditation. So meditation was a very important piece because I was taught early on that when you pray to God, you're talking to God, but the most important piece is to be quiet and listen to God. You listen to that voice within you. And that again was a piece that I hadn't ever heard of as I was growing up. But the more I did it, the more important it became in my life as a way to connect with that spirit. So I learned how to pray and how to meditate thanks to Unity of Missoula, and thanks also to a practice of A Course in Miracles, which became my second path. Now, A Course in Miracles came into being in 1965, and it is another pathway leading to the discovery of your inner self. One of the basic premises of A Course in Miracles is that there is only two emotions. That's it. Two emotions. There's either love or fear. So if you're not experiencing love for the other person that is active with you at the moment, it is because there's fear at the bottom of it. And so the Course in Miracles and Unity teaches us to go within and try to understand what it is that we're afraid of. That fear may have come out of as anger, disgust, rage, upset, wanting to run away, wanting to never see this person again, embarrassment, any kind of discomfort, anything other than love is fear. So there are two people who have become very well known around the world for practicing bringing more love into the world, for practicing the way of peace for all others. And they've written a great book. I'm going to read a little story from it. It's called Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. And it's written by Diane Cirincione and Jerry Jampolsky, who, as I say, have traveled all over the world, going to places of conflict, like Ireland, Israel, all kinds of places where there are conflicts. And they attempt to help people to bring peace by helping them to not see the other side as evil or as opponents, but to try to find a way to bridge the gap and learn to love the other person as themselves. So they have done a huge amount of work. They've formed a center they call the Attitudinal Healing Center, and they are teaching people that no matter where you are, no matter what is going on, you can indeed pause and find peace, because the peace is with you no matter where you are. Doesn't matter what's happening on the outside. There are incredible stories of people in prison in terrible circumstances who are still able to walk the path of peace. And they do that by choosing to do so. It is such a gift to be able to realize that it is always our choice, because we have that power within us. And so I begin. This is a change of mind, a change of life. After visiting so many places in the world where bitterness, turmoil, killing, and destruction had been a way of life for generations, it is difficult even to imagine viable solutions or to find reason for hope. And yet, we came away more than ever convinced that one person can and does make a difference in the world. And the light that each of us can shine goes a long, long way. In Belfast, we met one such light, a man of boundless courage and hope. We believe that he is an inspiring example of what can happen if just one person decides that there has to be another way of finding social justice than through attack and defense. This was a man who was willing to make a break with old systems and to see the world differently. Just meeting this man and hearing his story gave us both a lot of hope. He was in his late 20s and he was totally blind. He had recently opened up an after-school recreational area that brought together Protestant and Catholic children. People told him that he was crazy for even trying this, that parents would not dare let their children mix with those from the other side. There was plenty of apprehension at first, but the worst fears of this man's friends turned out to be wrong. A few Protestant and Catholic families began sending their kids to him. At first, the children didn't quite know what to expect. It was as if they thought they would find horns growing out of the heads of the other children. Obviously, they all discovered this wasn't the case, and they continued playing together. When they did so, a miracle happened. They discovered that they actually liked each other. As time went on and the word got out that the children were actually making friends, more children showed up. The beauty was that now they had their own experiences to build on. They were no longer depending on old beliefs and prejudices to make choices about who were to be their friends. There was no magic here. Perhaps the most important thing that happened was really something that was very, very simple. The children were treated as equals, and unconditioned love was given to all. There was no categorization of people, no identification of them as enemies or friends based on their religious background. As time went on, the children began sharing their experiences with their parents. Soon, children were phoning each other. Then they began visiting in each other's homes. As this began happening more and more, families not only met, but they became friends, no longer limited by the centuries-old boundaries they had inherited. We asked our new friend how he happened to start this project. He said that he was a Protestant and that at the age of 15, a bomb went off in front of his house. He had been outside playing when it happened, and he was permanently blinded. He went on to say, "I know this might surprise you, but in one way, being blinded finally opened my eyes to see. I had a real awakening. I began to see what was important in me was spiritual vision, not visual acuity. I began to believe that each of us can make a difference and that the buck had to stop somewhere. So why not with me? I consciously chose not to be a victim. I decided not to live the rest of my life with hatred and vengeance, as I had seen so many others doing around me. God came into my life in a very real way," he continued. "I found how important forgiveness was. I found that it was actually possible to forgive the people who had blinded me, as well as to forgive myself for the things that I had done. It was then that I felt I had received some guidance from heaven to start this small after-hours school and not to worry about the negative advice of others. My job was clearly to treat everyone as equals and to love everyone unconditionally. I am absolutely delighted that in a small way I am making a contribution, and I know I will never give up hope." I think this is so important for all of us to remember. And I noticed the little kids running around a bit earlier. If the children can just be allowed to be who they are, to be free, to be friends with each other, no matter what their backgrounds, just think what we could accomplish if we let that happen as well. That we reached out to each other in spite of the perceived differences and just were able to see that the light indeed shines from everyone as we let it shine in us. And so in closing, I'd like to ask you to join with me in the unity prayer for protection. I will say it one line at a time and ask you to repeat it with me if you would do so. I know there are a few people in the audience who know this. It goes like this. The light of God surrounds me. Together, the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. Together, the love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. Together, the power of God protects me. And I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank here totally. The protection of God, is that, peace of God? Anyway, it ends up with wherever I am, God is, and all is well. So remember that wherever you are, God is, and that light shines within everyone else as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Well, I'd like to introduce Raquel Castellanos. Very quickly, we're going to just let you know about the Walk a Mile for Peace that was going on this morning in case you missed it. Raquel actually has been one of our main supporters and students of Tulku Rinpoche for, gosh, probably 15 years or more, right? 17, 18, and was our fundraising coordinator for many years. And then about 7 years ago, we had a meeting and talked about having a peace walk. And Raquel was the first person to help introduce it to the garden. And so far, this is our 6th year for the peace walk. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Raquel so she can give you a little update.
Thank you. I'll try to speak up. Well, welcome everyone. So happy to see everyone here at the Peace Festival this year. The Walk a Mile for Peace is our effort. Each year it's our fundraiser to help raise money to maintain this beautiful garden, which is available and open all year round and here for everyone to enjoy. And so we really invite you to participate in this event. And if you feel moved, you can make a small donation. We have these contemplative peace walk flyers, both at the table where the prayer flags are being sold and in the store. And this is a beautiful opportunity for you, if you're not Buddhist, to try out these practices that we use as Buddhist practitioners. This is beautiful contemplation. It's called the Four Immeasurables. And the Four Immeasurables, the way this contemplative walk is designed is that you go around the garden. And when you walk one time and you circumambulate the outside of the garden, the wheel, the Dharma wheel, you're able to contemplate one of the four immeasurables each time you go around. So the four immeasurables are this beautiful contemplative practice in which you work with your own mind to expand love, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. And this is a beautiful opportunity for you, if you are curious about these practices, to try it out. So we have these guides, these walking guides, again in the store and over here at the booth that has the prayer flags, and we invite you to try it out. It's really, you feel so good after you do these contemplative practices. And you just take your time, walk slowly, thinking about this first one, love, how you can expand your heart, expand love, and expand your capacity to love. And again, with compassion, you read this definition and you walk around the garden and think, how can I expand my own heart and compassion? How can I expand my circle of those that I care for? Same with sympathetic joy. Sympathetic joy is really wanting everyone to be happy. And so when good things happen to people, you feel happy for them. And so you walk around the garden thinking about how I can expand my heart and really feel happy for the happiness of others. And then the last one, equanimity, is again thinking about, can I feel this way toward everybody without preferences to the people that I care about, but really opening my heart for everyone. So please feel free to pick up one of these guides right there at the prayer flag table. If you want to make a donation, you can make one at the table or inside the store. All right, well, enjoy this beautiful day, and thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thanks, Raquel. Well, the store is offering some sales, and every hour she wants me to let you know that at between 2 and 3, the peace cranes will be $10 instead of $12, and the peace cranes are hanging outside our booth. We also have a lot of the prayer flags on sale, and later this afternoon we'll head up on the hill together and be able to raise some flags. So we hope that you'll take part in that ceremony. We're going to welcome our next speaker, and then after that we're going to have some guests from our Tibetan communities up in Calgary to come and do some singing and dancing in traditional Tibetan style for you. Our next speaker is Greg Friedman, and we invited him from the Sussex School in Missoula. He is a parent himself and has always had the philosophy which loco parentis in Latin means in place of parents. And although the origination of that phrase in education emerged for legal reasons, Greg has repurposed it to mean that parents expect schools to act in their place, not only to make wise and difficult decisions, but to provide everything they dream of for their children and more. And the reason that we invited Greg was obviously the Dalai Lama has mentioned many times that educating our children in mindfulness and meditation can basically solve a lot of the problems in the world and war and eliminate that within generations. So the Sussex School being a very creative and a mindfulness-based kind of education, we thought it would be a great fit to talk about how we can kind of raise compassionate children. And when we do that from a very young age, we see generation after generation having more peace, more harmony, and health. So we're looking forward to what Greg has to say. Please give a round of applause for Greg Friedman.
I'm allowed to bring it forward, so as long as I'm behind the speakers, am I okay? How far forward can I go before I get feedback like that?
You're okay.
We'll find out how far I can get. Where is it? All right. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for being here today. I was here last summer, or last fall, I guess, and the weather was a little bit different. Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit for myself, too. Yeah, I think so. Thank you. All right. Can you hear me okay as well? Yes. Thank you. So let me just briefly introduce myself in Sussex School. Deborah did some of that. And then I'll do something that teachers do, I guess. But my name is Greg Friedman. I've only been in Montana for 1 year. I moved here with my family from Denmark most recently. And before that, Bangladesh. Before that, Honduras. And before that, Colorado. We've been traveling quite a bit together, always in education. And I'm presently the director of the Sussex School in Missoula. It's been around 45 years. It was founded in 1971 by a Danish woman as a parent cooperative. And the model from the beginning was it would be a progressive alternative school in Missoula. A different way of doing things for the children and families in town. In the beginning was a preschool with 5 children. And now the school's graduated over 300 8th graders. We presently have 128 students there from kindergarten through 8th grade. We're no longer a preschool. And the school is a remarkable place, remarkable enough to bring me from Denmark back to the United States and to Montana, a new home for me. And what makes it remarkable is something that I heard about when Khenpo came to speak for our school last spring. He talked about children as seeds. And that image stuck with me very much. So I'd like to carry that with you today if I could, and then ask you to do something with me. So, as Deborah said, I really believe schools have a special role. We are taking on the role of helping parents and helping the community raise children. We're a member in that practice, but not the only practitioners. And it reminded me of a gentleman named Friedrich Freuvel, who in the 1830s was running a preschool just like Sussex was in the 1970s. And in the late 1830s, he coined his progressive preschool kindergarten. And that's where that name began. I love that imagery. The idea of us treating children as seeds and plants that we're tending to, that we're nurturing and nourishing. I think it's a very powerful image because it implies a number of things that matter to me as an educator and to us as a community. One of those is that children already have everything we value inside of them. Like a seed, like a plant growing, we nurture it and we nourish it, but we haven't changed it. All that it's going to become is already inside it. All that that beauty entails is inside our children already. My two children were up on the hill playing with kites. They heard my voice, they came down. Thank you for coming to listen. And all that they're going to be is already inside them. That's very powerful to think about. What is our role in helping that come to be? The topic I was asked to speak about, raising compassionate children, is pretty daunting. Raising empathetic children, that's okay. Raising happy children, that's okay. But raising compassionate children is pretty daunting. The idea that children will express their compassion, their care for others that are struggling, that have less than they have. We don't see so much compassion in society sometimes, yet that's in all of our children already. I was very honored yesterday afternoon. There was a gentleman at my school, parent of a kindergartner, who walked up to me after school and said, "I want to let you know your daughter's very compassionate." That was unsolicited, and it was very powerful to hear. And I'm very proud that that's coming out of her. That our school and our society and her parents are bringing that out of her. So, how do we do this? How do we draw forth these things from children? Education gives us some clues. We've been teaching math for many, many, many years. We've pretty much concluded that you can't pour algebra over children and expect it to come out of them. For all of us who've gone through school and tried to learn math to various degrees of success, it doesn't work by pouring it onto us. It has to be drawn out of us. All of us are sense-making beings. All of us have the capacity within us to make sense of our world, whether that's numerically or artistically or verbally. But it's the job of schools and parents and societies to give sense-making challenges to children. Challenges that are just out of their reach so that they can grow a little bit each day, from that little seed into the plants they will become. The same is true for compassion. While it may seem logical to just pour love and kindness over our children and expect and hope that they'll become compassionate, that's not the way it works. That's not sufficient. Would be nice if it was. But in order to raise compassionate children, we have to think differently about how do we draw forth that compassion from them. Fortunately, I was not brought up here to be the expert to tell you how to do that. I'm not an expert in compassion. There are many, many compassionate beings in the world of Buddhism and in many other worlds that can teach us many good lessons. In my own world, the most compassionate people have been some women in my life. My grandmother, my mother, my wife. They're the teachers of compassion for me. They're the ones that have drawn it out of me. In this brief moment I have with you today, I'd like to ask you to draw forth from the wisdom you've experienced and take a few minutes with whoever's next to you to share what ways you've learned to draw forth compassion. Education does not mean standing in front of a microphone and speaking. Education comes from the root edus, which means to draw forth. It's the job of a teacher, the job of a school, to draw forth those ideas from children. So if you'll humor me, I'd ask you to turn to your neighbors and take 5 minutes while I don't speak and I join you to think about how do we draw forth compassion from children. So if you're within microphone shot and you're interested, we'll be gathering right here just in small groups to talk about how is it that we do this? What does it mean to draw compassion out of children? I'll mind the clock gently, but if you would please turn to your neighbors, I would be grateful if you'd think about that topic. For those of you that did just engage in that thought experiment, thank you. The group I sat with talked about a few things, and I'd like to share some of those, plus what we talk about at Sussex. So an interesting idea is that the right way to draw compassion out of children is to model it ourselves. Not to ask them to be compassionate, but to show it in our own actions. That children will mirror us as they grow, and that we can, by being good models, show them what it looks like to grow healthily. A second idea that came up was that we need to give them the chances to observe and name what they're seeing. They need the chances to observe all kinds of things: human behavior, the natural world, themselves, their friends. That through observation, they have the chance to build the skills to pay attention to what's around them. And then by adding vocabulary to those observations, they can begin to learn what compassion means, or what a box elder bug looks like. And a third idea that came up was that sometimes the best way to help children become compassionate is to step back and let them do it. As gardeners of these seeds growing, part of our job is to know when not to do anything at all. When to make space for them to become what they will be because it is in them already. And that by getting ourselves in the middle of it, it can be challenging. So I'd like to share a few things about how we take this practice on at Sussex. The first one is we're really deliberate about who we bring into our school as teachers and as parents. We want a great diversity of people. We want them all to value the same things. By mixing that diversity with the shared values, we feel like we can create a really powerful environment. We actively seek teachers who are role models in lots of ways: in adventure, in curiosity, and in compassion. A second thing we do at Sussex that's really powerful is we spend lots of time asking our children to observe. They have a practice of going outside to what they call sit spots. We have sit spots on campus, we have sit spots around Missoula, and a big part of sit spots is just going to a quiet place where they can observe themselves and the natural world around them. The act of noticing is the beginning of the act of becoming compassionate. In Bangladesh, it was rather remarkable that the world was so traumatized that you couldn't help but notice the needs around you. Disfigured bodies, extreme poverty, begging on every single intersection, corrupt government. It was impossible not to be noticing that which is challenging. We're very blessed here in a different way. It's easy not to notice the challenges in our society. It's easy to look around at this beautiful state where it's not so densely populated and think it's all okay. So giving kids the chance to observe and then talk about those observations is really important to us. And then practice. They do need to practice, not by pouring compassion and kindness over them, but by giving them the chance to address it when it comes up. We have a practice at our school where we are teaching. We're trying to learn algebra and all kinds of other subjects, but whenever we have an opportunity to stop class and consider a social challenge in our group, we do. Whether that's in math or PE or art or any other time. Class stops for the class to talk and consider what's going on. It's a practice that we do because that's more important than anything else we're doing. How do we become good human beings with each other? So we always do that in school. Maybe we learn a little bit less algebra sometimes. Perhaps we learn more. Because in the end, when you're healthy and happy and working well as a group, you can learn a lot faster, a lot more powerfully. There's two other things I'd like to share that we do because I think they're very important for children. One refers to what Cheryl said in my group, which is giving kids the chances to just be themselves. But we do it with a little bit of structure sometimes. At Sussex, we're really good about taking all the children, give them chances to interact together across the ages. Whether that be recess or lunch, or whether that be certain classes, or whether that's special programs. We have programs called the Big and Little program, where every student from 5th grade up has a younger student that is their mentee. They're little. It's been around a long time, so our 8th graders are partnered with kindergartners, and our 7th with 1st graders, and other pairings in the middle. And it's remarkable. When you give kids the space to practice compassion with someone who has greater needs than they do it naturally. They don't need coaching. It's in them. So I complimented my daughter earlier. It'd be remiss of me not to compliment my son. There are 2 kindergartners that are new at our school this year, twins. And after school, when I'm working late, he's often there, and so are they. And their grandmother approached me last week, and Zoli, my son, to say how wonderful he is as a model to them and a mentor to them. And that one of her grandchildren requested that he please become his big, that Zoli becomes Nico's big when the time is right. So I feel very good about the way my children are learning to be compassionate with those opportunities. And there's one last thing I think that we do and we need to do really deliberately, which is bring kids into situations where they are facing challenges in society. So we have a service learning program at Sussex, and I think it's very important that we think about helping kids get out into the community where they can learn from those experiences and see challenges that they would not face normally in our fairly beautiful and very insulated world. So whether that's working at the Missoula Food Bank or working with the Springs Elder Community, or our littlest one is just working with the Watershed Education Network and thinking about the compassion we need to show to the world, our waterways. We make sure that all the children have these opportunities on a regular basis. So to finish up my thoughts and to say thank you for sharing your time with me, my request is to remind you what Deborah said at the beginning. I believe schools have a role that's very much connected to parents. We've been asked to share in the responsibility, the parents' responsibility, the community's responsibility of raising children. It is not a job that is handed off to us, nor is one that we take from parents. It's one that we do in partnership. So I'm really grateful to see so many people here today thinking about partnership around the concept of peace. It is not something that I can do alone as an educator, nor you can do alone as a member of a community, whether religious or secular, or as a parent. But I think collectively, gatherings like this give us the chance to raise the children and the society we wish to raise. Thank you, Deborah, for giving me some time to be here today. Thank you all for listening.
Okay. Thank you so much, Greg, for coming from the Sussex School. It was really exactly what we wanted to hear about how we can raise and support compassionate children in our community. And speaking of children, we are going to have a special group. This group of families, 3 families, have come all the way from Calgary. And they came because they're students and supporters of Rinpoche and the Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. They've come a long way, and they're going to give us kind of an intercultural treat that most of us don't get to see, which is traditional Tibetan singing, dancing, and their beautiful dresses and everything. So please welcome first, we'll introduce Jigme, who will do a little bit of explanation about what you're going to see and hear, and that way you're a little bit informed as far as what they're going to be saying and singing. And so Jigme, if you'd like to come up and have a little talk, then we can give the audience a treat.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the center, and it's perfect weather today. So we have come from, 3 families have come down from Calgary, and it's really a beautiful drive, and proud to be in such a great country and a perfect landscape that could pretty much match Tibet's beauty as well. So with the Tibetan community, we have about 400 or 500 Tibetan people in Calgary as well. And what happens is with the Tibetan culture and language being threatened in Tibet, so we make an effort to preserve it in everywhere outside of Tibet. And with that effort, we have Tibetan language classes on the weekends, for which we have kids as young as 3 coming in and practicing the Tibetan language as well as culture in terms of dance. So it will be a work in progress, and if we don't preserve it outside, it will be extinguished in Tibet. So with this, we have kids as young as 3 here in our group, so we will be initially performing first a prayer service to offer whatever merit and this occasion, thank for this occasion. So with this group, may I present the 6 Tibetan kids from Calgary. Please give them a big applause and encouragement. Thank you. So this is saying the prayers that they initially start the day with usually, and then also making prayers for peace and well-being throughout the world. So, and for the next performance, we have a group song. It's called Red Robed, Namsa Mabo in Tibetan. Namsa Mabo, Red Robed, it's a song of gratitude to His Holiness, where he goes around the world with his folded hands, praying and working for world peace. So this is a song in gratitude for His Holiness. Namsa Mapo. Thank you. So, and after this, now we have a Tibetan dance, group dance. This dance is from the southeastern Tibet. It's a beautiful place with lush green forests, and it's pretty popular for its song and dance as well. So we have a Tibetan dance from southeastern Tibet, Kongshe. With the language and effort preservation being a continued effort, so you can pretty much tell that this dance will also be a work in progress as well. So please bear with the dances as well. Thank you.
Let's
So for our second last performance, we're going to have a solo lute player. On the weekends, we have also they have Tibetan music classes as well, where kids are taught traditional Tibetan instruments. So we have Tenzin here playing Tibetan lute. Thank you. And that was Tenzin, who's 11 years old. So now for our last performance, we have a group song called Domalaga. This song is based on a temple in Tibet, for Tara Temple in Tibet, and it's supposed to be very beautiful, with the temple being on top of the hill, and it's so beautiful that on the lyrics of the song it says that it's worthy of being going on a Kora circumambulation, and with the pond on the bottom, which is water is crystal clear, that it's you would want to offer it as a offering. It's so crystal clear and clean that it's worth offering to your deities. So we have a group song from the Tibetan kids, and after that they'll be introducing themselves. And with the kids, the age range from 3 years to 11 years old. Usually they practice with their own age group, so this time we have to sort of push them with access to internet being threatened. iPads. Thank you. that is the performance. So with this one now, we're gonna let them introduce themselves and their age.
Hello? Okay. My name is Tenzin Lobsang Pegil. I'm 11 years old.
I am 6.5. My name is Daniel. I am 6 years old. My name is Trixie, and I'm 3.5. My name is Rickton. I'm 8 years old.
My name is Tenzin Tipa, and I'm 8 years old.
Thank you, and give them a big hand. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us here on stage, and it's a beautiful time and a beautiful place, and we are very fortunate to be part of this program. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.
Chani de mojani, samli shide